What's going on, family? It's your main man, 100 Grand, Kim Blank Sorrell, and we are having a live webinar coming up on Saturday, May 14th, from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the topic this month is dividend stocks. Yeah, that's right. We're talking all about dividend stocks. Those stocks that not only give you your cake, but some of that icing too. So make sure you tap in to dividend stocks presented by Stock Market 101, part of the Bullish Institute's Financial Literacy Workshop Series.
This is the Entrepreneur Kickback. And boom, and we own Entrepreneur Kickback. Here with Mature the Servant, a.k.a. Mr. Vincent Parker.
What's going on?
Man, it's going good, going well. Happy New Year.
Man, same to you.
Yeah, man. Just been kicking back and soaking up these games from all these people I've been talking to.
Very much you have, bro. And I definitely super grateful, man, that you got me on here. And it's super dope to see you, you know what I'm saying, striking in this arena. Because one of the things about podcasts that is so dope nowadays, because it's such a oversaturated market, finding something that really people aren't doing as much is just as important as what your show is going to be about. Because this podcast is just about everything. But if you find just the smallest ways of doing it different, that's what makes your podcast stand out. So seeing you interview entrepreneurs, like, that's super dope, man. Like, that is super dope. Like, people all have interview style podcasts, but what you're doing with the entrepreneurs and providing free game, like, it's not a really oversaturated market. There's a lot of, podcasts about movies, about sports, but entrepreneurs and off the ground business, like, information, like, that's really super dope. Like, it's a touched market, but everybody, it's almost like that chick everybody, you know what I'm saying? A couple dudes that hit her, but not everybody. You know what I'm saying? She ain't hit train status yet, and you like, oh man, like, you know what I'm saying? But you know my man's down the corner in class English, he hit that, you like, okay, all right, man, So, man, it's super dope, man. I'm definitely glad to be on this podcast, bro, because it's good to see what you're doing.
All right, yeah, I appreciate it. Because it did take me a minute to decide if I wanted to hit entrepreneurship.
Okay.
Like, I ain't trying to name drop or nothing. It's not like you know me or nothing. I hit the EYL event here when I was here in Detroit.
Nice, okay.
So I went there, and I met all the guys there, but I was kicking it with Rashad.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Just gave him that, what's up, had a shirt for him, what's up, boop, boop, boop. And I was, I always shoot my shot when it comes to podcasts.
Got to.
Hey, you gonna be on my podcast? He said, what's it about? I'm like, entrepreneurship. He like, bet, dope. And now, mind you, this is he's a part of one of the big entrepreneurial podcasts in the world.
Right.
And he didn't say you shouldn't do that.
Right.
he said, hey, just shoot me an email and, shoot me an email and then my people will get back to you.
It's on, yeah.
So it was like, that made me feel good. That was before I recorded any episode. And then I walked around that event, met a few brothers there. This story I'm talking about, if y'all go to episode 3, Daniel Barnett, I met him there. And I got a few other guys I got to talk to follow up with, too, as well.
Okay.
But no one discouraged me. And for us, like, as black people, it's like the racial wealth gap is still there.
Very much so.
Actually, it's worse.
Yeah?
It's worse. It's worse now than it was in 1950.
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't quiz me on this. Someone more reputable told me this.
Mm-hmm.
One who's getting off their couch, they probably like, I can't make $100,000.
$100,000, right?
Yeah, just off my.
I'm trying to make $100,
right? Like, I need $20 right now.
You feel me?
so it's like. So I don't want to ever sell a dream to anyone, so that's why I try to talk to as many different people as possible in different avenues because, we share the skill and the psychology of.
Facts.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I think it's so dope what you're doing, man, because I remember when I was doing my homework on entrepreneurship and I was just trying to understand what I was getting myself into, everybody that I came across, they had already made it. So I was like, well, where are the people who still process it? You know what I'm saying? Where are the people that's like still on the way up? So I can say like, oh, okay, you only like 6 steps ahead of me. It was like people who were already finished the race and they like, yeah, nah, I just sit and I make about $100,000 a week. And I'm like, okay, so what did you do on day one when you first started? And they're like, I just was consistent. And I'm like, that doesn't really help me understand what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So having that different, having those people at different levels and stages of their entrepreneurship, whether they just started their year in, they're 4 years in, they're super successful, they've seen success, they've seen failure and then cancer. Like having all those different various of experiences of entrepreneurship, I think grants people the larger picture. It gives them the micro and the macro, you know what I'm saying? And not just the, if you be an entrepreneur, you'll be successful like me. Or being like, hey, if you be an entrepreneur, you might be broke for 10 years. But if you stay consistent with what you're doing, hey, then you will see the fruits of the labor. But just know, I started off 10 years broke. You know what I'm saying? Or, hey, I had to go bankrupt and then come back. Hey, I did. You know what I'm saying? So all of those, having that range of diversity of stories help you realize, okay, it's not just, let me quit my job, open up a T-shirt business, and I'm be rich. Like, no, it's not. There's going to be more to that. And so I think that's dope, man, that you're providing people that game of different areas, man.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. That's funny you said that because that's how I started when I went off on my own. Mm-hmm. I left my job, I paid my house off, left my job, had a T-shirt business.
I didn't mean you,
but no, the point resonates though. It resonates. I didn't quite do it like that.
Right.
You know, I had some reserves put together, but
for sure,
I did do that though. But it did help me though. You know what I'm saying? Regardless, that process did help me because it was like, okay, this is what I'm doing wrong. Okay, I need to come back and do this. But before we get on to these tangents, because I go
right,
man. For the people who don't know you, just give a brief introduction of yourself and your skill sets in your businesses.
Okay, yeah. So my name is Vincent Parker. Most people know me as my artist name, my music artist name, Mature the Servant. I've been doing music for over 20 plus years, I say. I am a music artist out of Detroit. I also am an entrepreneur. I have a production company called Maturity Productions. We produce films, short series, mini-series, podcasts. Music is also a part of that. So I'm also a filmmaker, a director, a writer, screenwriter. I am a podcaster, a podcasting host. I have a podcasting hosting site, the Maturity Production Network, which is through Buzzsprout. So through them, I host various different podcasts under one umbrella. Let's see, what else do I do? I shoot music videos. I create content. I'm a YouTube gamer.
Damn.
Man, what else don't I do?
Right.
I'm a writer. I'm a novelist. Working on a book right now. Yeah, that's it. I think the deeper I go, I can explain more and more stuff of it. But in a nutshell, those are all the things that I do on a regular basis between filmmaking, podcasting, music, writing, stuff like that. All of that is under the hub of Maturity Productions, which is my production company. So,
okay. So you a little bit of everything under the sun as far as anything involving content, brother.
Basically. Yeah, definitely. I'm a content creator. I just tell people I'm a content creator.
That's it. It's funny. When I was growing up, that wasn't a word.
It wasn't. That's crazy, right? Just how things get made. Because I'd never heard that as a kid. Oh, I'm gonna be a content creator one day. Nope, didn't know that was an even job. That was a job for real.
Shoot, as a kid, you just go to school and get a good job and take care of your family, and that was it. That's it.
And now you have the great resignation, and people are leaving those jobs.
Man. Well, my cherry got popped when I was 19. Someone kicked me on game. But to stay on topic, shoot, what was your light bulb to say, all right, look, I got to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm going to do. So what did you start with? Well, how did you come up with it? Mm-hmm. How did you start? And what was the barriers you had to overcome?
Okay. So for me, I had always just done music. That was my major thing, was doing music. I had been doing music for, like I said, over 20 years. So music for me was kind of the regular thing outside of my job. Like,
Okay.
I was getting off work and doing performances at, different shows, different clubs, different stuff like that. I was performing. So I really just started, before even content creating became a thing for me, I was just a music artist. And so for me, it was just like, get off work, go do a show, on my off days, go to the studio, record songs, stuff like that. And so that's kind of where I was living. I was like, cool, this is not a bad life. I got to work this terrible 9 to 5, but that's cool. It's only giving me money to go make music. That's fine. I'm with that. But I got fired. And I remember at the time, man, and this is no joke, it really was like one of those epiphany moments, man. I get fired, I'm driving home, and I call my girl, I say, I just got fired. And the reason why it was such a big deal, I mean, people get fired all the time, but for me it was a big deal because the job that I was doing was a job that I had felt like I had worked for. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, man, I have worked for this job. I belong here. And so now I'm getting fired, and I'm like, what do I do with my life now? And so I'm driving home. I call my girl. I say, man, I just got fired. She's like, how you feeling? I'm like, I don't know. I got mixed emotions. And because at that point I did hate it. And so I was like, I sit in my driveway, and I said, what do I do now? Like, I really had that question as a grown man. I was like, what do I do now? Like, I couldn't go get another job, but I really was just like, is this it? Like, I just leave one and I go to another one, and, eventually I leave that one, go to another one. So I was like, what do I do? So I go in the house, I start watching YouTube, and I'm watching a YouTuber by the name of Chris Dink. He's a YouTube gamer. And so it just so happens this day he posts this video where it has nothing to do with video games. He's just talking about his life. And he's talking about how he got tired of putting his destiny in other people's hands. Uh-huh. And he was like, man, I really just got tired of letting someone else control my destiny. And I really felt like I needed to be in control of my own life. And so I ended up quitting. He ended up quitting his job, and he started doing freelance work through Fiverr. He'd do like voiceovers, and he'd do, editing, video editing and stuff for people. And he was just doing that to make money. And from there, he got into his YouTube channel, and then he did that for X amount of years. And now he's a super successful YouTuber. And I remember sitting there and being like, I love video games. I play them all day. I'm funny. I could sit and be a YouTube gamer. And I was like, that sounds crazy, but I know I'm good at it. Like, I have the basic essentials for doing it. Now, the technicality side of it, I have to learn. The technical side, the editing, the mix, all that stuff I got to learn. But the core of why I watch him is because he's funny and he plays games, and I have an interest in both. And I can do that. So I instantly got to researching. Well, what do I need to do what he's doing? What's the equipment I need? What does that do? Okay, if I buy it, then how does it link up with what I have now? All I have is this Dell computer, and okay, if I plug it into that, how does it work with the PlayStation 4? And I just sat and started doing homework. I went to school, and so I jumped into it, and I realized that Chris Dink makes it look really amazing and easy what he does. And it was hard as hell. And I just was failing on every level. Like, it was terrible. My videos, and then I realized how funny I wasn't really. Or I realized how really, being funny I realized my humor and what it was. So, man, for me, man, that starting process, though, of realizing, like, bro, I'm done letting people control my destiny. I'm done going somewhere and saying, hey, my grandma passed, and I have to do a full investigation to prove she passed so I can go to the funeral. I have to do a full investigation to show them I'm really sick. I have to do and I was like, bro, if I'm sick, I'm sick. If I'm tired, I don't want to come in, I should be able to tell that to myself. I shouldn't have to push through, forcing myself to go, because there were times when I started to go through waves of depression, actual physical limitations. Like, I couldn't get up some mornings. My back was locking up. I'm young, so this is wild that this is happening. And I'm saying, like, I didn't sign up for this. This isn't okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're in generations before, I'm sure it came off as a badge of honor. I was waking up realizing, like, no, this is not okay. I'm 20-something and my back is, like, broke. You know what I'm saying? Like the Mike Tyson meme. You know what I'm saying? My back is broken. Spinal. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
And I was like, bro, this doesn't work. So at that point, man, I just took control of my destiny, and I said, no more. If I have to struggle for the next few years, then that's what I'm going to do. But from this point forward, I am going to make the choices from here on out. You know what I'm saying? And so I just had to start doing the homework and start to overcome the learning curves that were going to be ahead of me, because there was things I didn't know how to do. I self-taught myself how to video edit. I self-taught myself how to, deal with audio. I self-taught myself how to use a computer more than what I had known. Everything I've done from this point, from leaving, was self-taught. I never went to, a Specs Howard. I never went to any courses or classes. I just sat in front of YouTube every day, went through countless numbers of videos, looked at different types of articles, and then trial, error, success. You know what I'm saying? So that's really how I got to where I am now. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what I be most proud of when I tell people, because where most people have gone to classes to do these things, I've gotten to where I am based on real raw talent and the execution of hard work.
That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks. So dang, I didn't know you was a streamer. Are you still doing that?
I have not, actually, because my play has gotten so full. I think my last video was up maybe 4 months ago. But I it's not something I've given up on. It's just something that when you take on more, you have to kind of learn how to rearrange your plate. You know what I'm saying? And so instead of eating a large portion of video games, I have to eat a smaller portion. So I've just been sitting down, rewiring and reworking how I'm going to get that back in rotation, because it's still what I love, and it's my first love of what I was doing. So it's not something I've given up on, but I have countless videos already in the storage in the vault of what I've done, and I got stuff that I haven't even put out yet. I just haven't had the time to sit down and edit it because of the other more things that I've been doing. But it's definitely something that I love to do, so it's not like it's going to go away.
Okay, I'm with you. Actually, I took it back in on video games. I tried streaming.
Okay.
Yeah, I realized I couldn't do it. I realized I couldn't in good conscience sit down and play the video game for 4 or 5 hours and feel comfortable at it. Or at least when I tried. I'm like, I need $100 right now. I don't think I'm cut out for this. I got to find something else to do.
Yeah, it's definitely, man, I was like, man, I had to be about 2 years in to streaming and making content. And I'm like, man, I am still getting 20 views. Like, and I'm still broke. Like, this is getting hard. And I still have to buy every new game that comes out to keep up. I was like, this is getting rough. And so a lot of that is just, man, again, learning to just stick with what I do, learning that the process and the journey is the success. Because for me, it was like, man, I'm only getting 20 views here, or 40 views, or 90 views, or 7 views. And I'm like, I don't want to do this for 10 years. But I had to realize, like, man, it's really the journey and process of doing it. The stuff that I do now, shooting films, and a lot of that I learned from making the game videos. The editing that I learned came from making the game videos. So even though I was getting 7 views, it really was preparing me for the things I was going to do later. And now I look up and I have videos from a year ago, 2 years ago, 4 years ago that have like 1,000 views. And I'm like, where did that come from? That video's old. Like, I remember that video had 7 views and now it's at 1,000. When did that jump? You know what I'm saying? But again, everything takes its own journey. It takes its own time. So 7 views 4 years ago was discouraging. And now 4 years later, 1,000 views makes me smile. Like, wow, that's 1,000 people that watch that. Like, that's over 1,000 people that, wow. Like, it just blows my mind. So, you know, it's really the process and the journey. Once you can get that in your head and stop looking at the numbers and statistics, then you start to realize, hey, I'm in this for a different reason. Actually, you will understand why you're in it for the most part. You will understand if you're in it for the numbers and the result and the self-glorification, or if you're in it because you really love it. You know what I'm saying? So for me, breaking away from looking at numbers, I even stopped talking to people a certain way. People be like, you know, I got a YouTube channel, and they're like, how many subscribers you have? And I'm like, I'm a YouTube gamer. I'm not going to answer that question because it shouldn't matter how many subscribers I have. Do you want to watch what I have? Because you could be the next subscriber. You could be my 1 millionth subscriber, or you could be my 5th subscriber. It doesn't matter. The point is, I have great content. Do you want to see it? You know what I'm saying? I stopped answering those questions, you know, or people like, how many subscribers, you know, how many subs you got? How many, you know, how many views you got? And I'll be like, it doesn't matter. Do you want to see the channel? Yeah, I want to see the channel. Okay, then we'll do that. I'll show you my channel. But I'm not going to answer questions about numbers because, one, that does not validate whether or not I'm a great content maker. And it also does not validate whether or not you should watch the channel. So, you know, and so those things helped me appreciate the journey when I was getting 7 views, getting 10 views, getting 20 views, because I wasn't caring about that. I'd be like, hey, that's 20 people who took time to watch it. I'm grateful. They didn't have to watch it. That took me 7 hours to make that video, edit it and create it and re-edit and draft it and post it, and 20 people watched it. That's crazy. I created something out of nothing and 20 people watched it. That's crazy. That's pretty amazing. I don't care what nobody tells anybody. If you can create something out of nothing and people take the time to watch it and hit like or leave a comment, that alone means something. It means you have something to offer. You just got to figure out how to do it better and better each time. That's it. So, you know, those were the things that drove me in the beginning.
Okay, shit. Okay, that's dope. Hey, you saying all the right stuff. That triggers something. A YouTube video I was listening to not too long ago.
So shout out to Chris Dean and Corey Kenshin, both of them.
Yeah. And who was I listening to? Oh, Pat Flynn. Shout out to him.
Okay.
He and what he said about like your numbers as far as subscription. He's speaking on podcasting, but he said if you got 200 people as your subscriber base, when you paint your stage, your whatever you create your content is your stage. Mm-hmm. Now in real life, if you go on that stage, you have 200 people talking to you, you're gonna be nervous. If you never spoke before, 5 people is gonna get you nervous. Mm-hmm. So when you said that resonated to when he said that on his channel. I don't remember where he got it from. I heard it a long time ago.
Right.
But now moving forward, I already took something from you, my brother. I'm not gonna speak my numbers unless it needs to be spoken of.
That's it.
That's
it.
Yeah.
I mean, I even with podcasting, it's the same thing. Like when I started off with my podcast, and granted, even this is going back. I remember when I started first podcasting, I was doing a show. It's kind of like rap shit that I do now, but it was called the Mature Only Podcast, and I interviewed local artists throughout the city. And so when I started that podcast, I did it off of a tablet. First off, I was using a Samsung tablet and I was using the Spreaker app, and I was recording through there, and I was literally a traveling podcast at the time because I knew artists throughout the entire city. So there were artists in Pontiac, there were artists in Waterford, there were artists in, you know, Detroit, there was artists in Southfield, there were artists everywhere. And so my whole pitch was, if you let me come to you, I'll just record you where you are. You don't have to come to me. You ain't got to figure out what to do with your kids. If you and your wife, I'll just come to you because I have a tablet and I can take this thing anywhere. And so I did that podcast, and I remember the first episode I ever done, I had like 7 listens. And I was like, okay, all right, that's cool, that's cool. Just being consistent, and again, because I loved interviewing people. I loved hearing their story. I loved talking and having that conversation. 2 years down the line, I'm still doing this podcast. I have over 400 listeners. I'm in multiple countries, all off of a tablet that I'm using to do a podcast. And I didn't know this until I looked. I had just stopped looking. I wasn't even looking at the statistics no more. I was just recording episodes and posting them and doing a little promotion. And then one day I just was like, man, I wonder how I'm even doing. I don't even know who's listening to this for real. And I looked and I was like, wow, 400 listeners. You know what I'm saying? To the point I got over 1,000 listens over multiple countries, the UK, Africa, Zimbabwe, all type of stuff. And I'm like, what? And then I really took pride in my work at that point. I was like, oh, okay, now we own something. You know what I'm saying? But that's where, you know what I'm saying? Again, because I loved what I did, the numbers didn't really matter. I just loved interviewing people. I didn't care if nobody listened. It was fun for me to just sit with an artist, hear his story, take nuggets from him, share some laughs and stuff, and then be like, man, that was super dope, man. I got to learn something about somebody today. That was kind of cool. And then I look up, and there's 400 other people learning with me. You know, then there's 1,000 people listening with me. And I'm like, now we owning something. You know what I'm saying? So, and that was my very first podcast. And I was grateful for that. And it kind of steered me into the direction I am today. So, numbers, man, I don't even talk numbers with people unless I have to. If I'm, you know, sales pitching to somebody or a business or a company, you know, or if I'm, you know, am talking numbers for educational purposes, you know what I'm saying, like now and stuff. But just on the strength of meeting somebody and, you know, they're like, hey, man, how many searches? It doesn't matter. Listen to the content first. Listen to the work first. You know, nobody watches YouTube and goes to the channel and say, how many subscribers this person got before I watch this video? No, you just go to YouTube and you find a video and you watch it because the title looks great or the picture looks great or you've followed the people for a while so you know that their content is great. I know tons of YouTubers in their channels. I don't know how many subscribers they got.
Nah.
I don't. I love, shout out to Abba and Preach. Great YouTube channel. I don't know how many subscribers they got. I can assume it's a lot because they got the little diamond plaque in the back. But even then, there are people who I watch who don't have their plaque on their screen. I don't know how many subscribers they got. I don't care. They put out great content. And I think a lot of times in a world where we're built on social media, where we're trying to always show off our accomplishments to establish ourselves, people get caught up in numbers. And for me, I'm like, listen, those numbers don't define or make me, and they also don't define or break my content. Whether I have 1,000 views or 5 views, this video is enjoyable if you watch it. I can guarantee you that. And that's what I stand upon is my work and my content. And that's the reason why I still to this day, you know, move the way I move when I'm talking about my work and my content. Because despite any numbers, my content is gonna be as good as it's ever gonna be. So,
okay, shoot. Oh, you sound like you found your truth. You found your passion. hey, I like to hear it. I like to hear it. So you said you start, okay, you was an artist at first.
Yeah.
And then this transitioned.
Yes.
Into podcast.
Yeah.
Any formal training at all?
For podcasting?
For music, your production company?
No.
Nope, you just everything off the cuff.
Everything has been off the cuff. The only thing that podcasting has a root in was I did radio.
Okay.
And that is shout out to my mom who for my birthday one year, I might have been 19, 20. She had bought me airtime on the radio for I had like 4 shows every Sunday. I had a show every Sunday for an hour. I think it was an hour every Sunday on a radio station. And so I'd go down every Sunday or I'd go down on Wednesdays because they aired it on Sundays. No, I'm sorry. I went and recorded on Sundays, but it aired on Wednesday. So I'd go down on Sundays, record my episode. It was just me. at first. The first few episodes were just me by myself. It was a spiritual podcast because it was with a spiritual radio station. And so I just would do, like a quick, a quick, like I'd read an excerpt from like the Bible or something like that. Or if I had a devotion or something, I'd read it out. And then I'd just give my thoughts. It wasn't even like a super religious thing. I was just like, times are going to be hard, people. And when they're hard, you just got to keep hope alive. Hope is important, and so, and then I had a friend, my homeboy Nia J came on, and we kind of started doing a duality. He brought more substance than I could bring. And so it was super dope. And I did that for, about 6-7 months and whatnot. And then I just stopped doing it and whatnot. But that taught me so much. Just being in the studio, knowing how to do cues, knowing how to cut to commercials, knowing how to frame your conversation in a time limit, knowing how to organize and structure a podcast show or a radio show. All of that helped me when I went into podcasting because I understood it was more than just record. Hey, what's up? Blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? I understood show introductions, transitions. I understood how to, level and control a conversation. So, okay. And moving forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understood all of that from radio so that when I went into podcasting, I was doing things on a professional level, and people were looking at me like I was crazy. Like, wow, like, bro, you really good at this. And I'm like, I just understood it from there, and I just transitioned it over because in the early days of podcasting, people were just hitting record and talking. There wasn't a lot of structure and professionalism to podcasting. Not saying that there weren't none out there, but it just wasn't as prevalent now. People have sponsors and ads now, so there's a lot of professionalism now in podcasting. But I understood that a long time ago when I first started just doing radio at 20. So fast forward from 20 to 24. Now by 24 I'm picking up podcasting for the first time, and boom, there it goes. You know what I'm saying? I'm just taking what I learned 4 years earlier and applying it to my podcast. And people really were shocked at just how well I steered conversations, how well I knew how to ask questions, how I was able to really dig deep into a conversation and pull stuff out, how I was able to do transitions and do ads and stuff. And they was just like, man, how long you been doing this? And I'm like, I don't know. I just started like 2 months ago, my podcast, and they're like, where you learn this from? I'm like, I just know, so outside of everything else, outside of radio that helped me learn podcasting, everything else for me has just been, again, raw talent and consistent work at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the Will Smith method keeps coming up again. Every time I keep having these conversations with people, the Will Smith method. I remember the dude's name now. His name is Troy Baker.
Okay.
Will Smith's partner.
Okay.
And I remember him in an interview a long time ago. I was listening to it. He said Will Smith was never the best at anything, but he outworks everyone.
Facts.
He always shows up.
Facts.
He's the first one there, and he's the last one to leave.
That's it.
And he deemed that the Will Smith method, if I'm remembering that interview correctly. But it's like when I heard that, I'm like, all right. When you want to try to do something, you feel as though you may not have the competence to do something.
True.
Go at it with enthusiasm. Work at it. The competence will come.
I tell people that all the time. First off, Will Smith is my favorite artist of all time musically. He's also one of my top 3 favorite actors. He's also my illegitimate but not legitimate father, I believe, somewhere in real life. I believe I'm a Smith by nature. You know what I'm saying? Like I've loved Will Smith since I was a kid, and since Men in Black, before Men in Black, Wild Wild West, all this. I've loved him. I've always taken to Will Smith. I've always followed his method musically. I think he was a genius. The reason why I think I'm successful now musically is because I did things that I took from Will Smith. And people like really underplay him. It's so crazy how Will is one of the most appreciated but most underrated people in entertainment and in life. I think people love Will Smith, but they really underplay his knowledge and his success. I think they just kind of say, oh, he's a big box office movie star. They really don't. I think they underline his music success. I think his movie box office is underrated just because, he got bad movies, sure. But I think what he did in Hollywood, what he was able to accomplish in Hollywood, especially being a rapper, first, I think just transcends. You don't have Ludacris in Fast and the Furious. You don't have Ice Cube in Friday if you don't have Will Smith in The Fresh Prince and in Independence Day. I think all of that doesn't happen without Will Smith. So I think rappers being seen as actors, that business model started with Will Smith. Or I think it exploded because of Will Smith. Because they were like, wow, these rappers have personality, but they also have an audience musically that can come to our theaters. Boom, money. And I think Will Smith did that. But I always tell people this, everywhere I go, I tell people, I am not the best videographer. I am not the best filmmaker. I am not the best music artist. I am not the best podcaster. But you will never know because I work my ass off enough to be up there with them. I don't have everything they have. I don't use everything they have. But you would never know the difference because I work just as hard with what I have to look like I have what they have. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm great at working really hard with very less because I know if I can do it with less, then I don't need the more. So I save the money. I save the time. I save the effort that they go through over there. Like, they got big camera rigs and they got all this and they got all that. And I put out, you might need an entire 50-man team to put out a movie. And I just did it by myself. Now, how did I do the job of 50 people by myself without all the things that 50 people had? Somebody ran the lights. Somebody ran the fog machine. Somebody ran this. How did they do all that with 50 people? And I did it because I worked harder. I made sure that the lights was ready before I needed the lights. I did. You know what I'm saying? So the Will Smith model is true. I'm not the best at everything. I tell people I'm not the best. I work hard, though. I bust my ass better than anybody. There's nobody who's going to outwork me. You could be a better rapper than me, but I'm going to put out more music than you. Or my music is going to be better than yours because I actually sit down and work on my music. You just get on the mic and say a bunch of words. I outwork anybody. I tell you, I don't care how great your content is. Mine's is going to be better because I actually worked my ass off to make it. Whereas yours, you might have just was like, oh, I got all the equipment. I'll just flop and make it whatever. I didn't have all the equipment, so I had to figure out how to really make this thing. And so now it's going to be better because I worked my ass off to create it.
Okay, shit. You made a whole movie. Well, okay, let's touch on that. let's touch on that because all right, I had a movie guy before on too, but
okay,
he didn't make the movie.
Okay.
He shouts out to Mr. Daryl McCullough. He either got the script and he was the one shopping the movie, he make it happen, but he wasn't like, hey, let's make a movie. I got the stuff. Come on, let's do it.
Right.
So it's like that's what it sounds like. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I write, direct, and produce.
Damn. All right. So, all right. Got someone listening to this podcast. They're on their way to work. You know what I'm saying? Probably trying to find some clarity. That's why you probably listen to this.
Come on now.
All right. That movie idea then sparked an idea. Like, can I do that? How can I do that? How can I do that?
Possible, man.
Yeah. So for the average walking individual, what are some basic things you say you would need to start a music production? I'm sorry, movie production.
Movie production?
Yeah.
So I will explain that by telling this story. 2020 hit and the pandemic came. Now, mind you, I'm a music artist. I had no, and at this point, by 2020, January of 2020, before the pandemic, I was an artist / YouTube gamer YouTuber. That's all I was doing, making music and making videos for YouTube, playing the game. 2020 hit, pandemic happened, everything closed. No more performances for me as an artist. Couldn't perform nowhere. Everything's closed. YouTube gaming, I got burnt out. So I was like, I am burnt. I mean, because when I say I was burning the midnight oil, I definitely was burning midnight oil. I was working, this was an everyday thing. 6 a.m., up at 6 a.m., going to bed at 5 a.m. because I was working a full 24, basically. I literally, from sun up, sitting there editing the video from the night before. By noon, I'm working on the next video for today. I'm working on the next video for tomorrow, recording it. By 7 p.m., 6 p.m., I'm now just getting to the mixing and editing of the video. By 12 midnight, I'm just now preparing myself, writing the script for the next video or filming the next video. Boom, it's 6 a.m. all over again. So I was burnt making video games. Pandemic hit, and I'm saying, well, what do I do now? I can't perform, and I'm burnt playing video games. I don't even know what to do with myself. And I was like, bro, you always wanted to shoot a film. I always wanted to shoot a film. I've been talking about it for years. Facebook has a great way of reminding you of things you said you was going to do with the memories. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, bro, I can shoot films. This is the perfect time. Everything's closed. Nobody's outside. Nobody's going to bother me. I can get out here and shoot a film. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can be in public because there are laws and restrictions to filming certain things. You know, you got to have permissions and rights. But I'm like, everybody indoors. Who's going to see me? I'm out here. You know what I'm saying? So literally, I said, what do I do? I had already bought 2 Canon cameras at the time. And I had already sold one. I had already given one away to my sister. And the other one I wasn't even really using for real. And so I was like, I really don't want to carry around this heavy camera. I got a bag with it, all this stuff. I had spent all this money on this camera. And I was like, I just don't want to use this. I was like, I need something fast on the go. If I'm about to be in public during the pandemic, I got to be out here. I got to be fast. I need something light, quick, moving. I had an iPhone. I started researching. Can you shoot a movie with an iPhone? Then I found out mobile filmmaking is an entire genre. There are movies that are in theaters that were shot on iPhones. There were television series shot on iPhones. I'm like, are you serious? I can shoot an entire movie on my iPhone. Okay, let's do some homework. I started studying. By the end of 2020, we had an entire first season of Die For This shot entirely on my iPhone. Now, through that process, I learned some stuff, not just about iPhones, but about everything else that goes into filmmaking. But people would always ask me, once the show was out, they were like, man, this show was good, man. They're like, man, how you film it, bro? And I'm like, on my iPhone. And they're like, what? On your iPhone? I'm like, yeah, shot an entire show on my iPhone. They're like, on your phone, like the phone that I'm holding. Yes, your phone. I used that to shoot an entire 10-episode miniseries. That's crazy. Are you serious? Yes. I used what I have. I've always said it. I use what I have. If I don't have what I want, I use what I have. You know what I'm saying? If I don't have a fancy $800 Canon, whatever camera, Sony this camera, I figure out, what do I have? What can I start with to get me where I want to go? And then I build upon that. I figure out from there, oh, okay, cool. I had an iPhone. We were shooting nighttime scenes. They look rough. That first season, them episodes look a little rough at night because I didn't have lights. But I understood that. So then I got better lights. And then I had these little square bulb lights that were battery powered. And them sucked. And then I went and got another set of lights. And that sucked. Now I got actual professional lights. They're amazing. But again, I did it with what I had. I just started with an iPhone and a vision. The vision is I have a story to tell about some people doing a heist that goes wrong and it messes up their lives. And I can shoot this on my iPhone. And I got friends willing to be actors who don't know how to act, but they willing to do it. And they just go be them raw selves. And I'm going to sit down and write a script. And we just go over it. And now Die For This is one of the most anticipated shows on YouTube. Everybody has been hitting me up. When is season 2 go drop? When is season 2 go drop? When is season 2 go drop? And I'm like, we working on it. But again, it's just like, I done it all off my iPhone. And people still don't believe me when I'm telling them, because they say, it looks so good. The way the camera, man, the motion of the camera, it looked like you got a real. No, that's just learning how to keep a steady hand. That's just learning. I've watched enough movies. That's the other thing about filmmaking was I had to sit down and actually watch movies. You know what I'm saying? Not just enjoy them. I had to watch them. What is the camera doing? why I watched Dark Knight and I realized so many things were happening with the camera that I never paid attention to just watching Dark Knight. But when I watched it, I was like, let me watch it from a filmmaker's perspective. And instead of watching the acting, let me watch what's happening on screen. And just watching that, I was like, wow, okay, make the camera pan this way. Make the camera do this. So all I had to do was start imitating it with the iPhone. And now people, oh, man, bro, the way you make it move, man, it's so smooth and cinematic. But again, that just came from homework. So I just started off with my iPhone. I still use my iPhone. I consider myself a mobile filmmaker because when you do say filmmaking and filmmaker, people assume certain professional cameras and stuff like that. So I tell people I'm a mobile filmmaker because that is a genre and a subculture of its own. You know what I'm saying? And so I am just continuously learning how to be a better mobile filmmaker. But I realized that it was what I love to do. It was simple and easy. My phone is always on me, and there's a camera always ready to record. And as long as I I live in a city full of locations and places, so it was just easy to just pick up and go. I don't have to load up a bunch of equipment. The same phone I'm saying, hey, are you ready to do the acting? Is the same one I'm about to flip and then turn it to the camera. So it was super easy on the go. You know, it just became light work at that point. So for me, it was just like undeniable, ease. And then, the pandemic, again, took so much away from my other abilities as far as music and stuff. I was just like, again, pivoting. I learned to pivot. I lost a job, learned to pivot. Club shut down, bar shut down, learned to pivot. So I just was like, man, I can't perform. I can't be a rapper. So I guess this is the year I could become a filmmaker. And now, 2 years later since the pandemic, I'm a filmmaker and I'm doing that. So, that's how I kind of started. And that's where, I am now. I'm further than I was when I started, but I just use my iPhone and then I build around that. What makes this iPhone look better? Lights, this, backdrops, blah, blah, blah. And I just keep building upon the iPhone and making everything make the iPhone the camera that somebody with a Sony, Canon, whatever do.
Oh, damn. I'm about to make a movie. Man, all you need is a phone?
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. Especially if you got multiple phones, then it's really easy. Because then you're doing two angles. Now you're doing double angles. You know what I'm saying? I just started with one, and then I was shooting multiple times. I'm going to shoot this way. All right, cut. I'm going to shoot this way. Cut. I'm going to shoot this way. Cut. Smash it all together. You get multiple cameras. Now you're doing less work. You just put that there, shoot different angles, and then just let them run. Take them back, put them together, cut it up. Super easy. You know what I'm saying? So, I learned that quick, but yeah, I just been using my iPhone. I'm a mobile filmmaker. I'm a part of that culture. And there's so much information out there for mobile filmmakers. There's lenses, like camera lenses that you put on the back of your phone. There's all type of things that you can attach to your phone to make it look and work like a DSLR camera.
Really?
And I never knew that when I started. I just was taking my raw camera, which still works fine. I was just taking my raw camera and, just filming off this. But now I have pieces that go on top of this over the cameras. It's a lens, and then it does other stuff. So the more you learn, it's almost like you realize everything you need is in your fingers, right here in your fingertips. So, it blew my mind, man. Blew my mind as I started to do the homework. But now I love it.
It's blowing my mind now.
Blowing my mind now.
Man. See, I'm like we doing this in person because a lot of times I'm on the phone. I'm like,
right.
Oh, shit, you got to respond.
Right. You like, I need time to process this. Oh, wait, we still rolling? Okay.
Like, yeah, like, hold on. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
My girl like to say, oh, your wheel's turning, huh?
Yeah.
It seems like your wheel's turning. But, okay, you said, okay, you can add lenses to your phone. What are those called?
They lenses.
That's it. Just mobile phone lens?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. You go on Amazon and you put in, iPhone, or you just put in, camera lenses for iPhones, and you get a whole 100,000 pages of different companies that sell lenses for phones. Yeah.
Damn.
They got everything. Stabilizers for phones, obviously. you know, rigs. You can put your phone on like those little not the race carts, but the little remember those remote control cars you used to play with as a kid?
Yeah.
You know, they got those. You can put your camera on it so you can get like a rolling shot. You know what I'm saying? They got all type of stuff that you can put your phone on to really do cinematic filmmaking work.
Oh, that's dope. Oh, we're gonna have some fun this year. What was the name of your movie you shot?
So the show,
the
it's
show.
a 10 episode show. It's called Die for This. It's on my Maturity Productions YouTube channel.
Okay, Die for This.
Yeah,
okay.
Season 1 is up. Season 1 was from 2020. It's my baby. It's my baby project. You know, it was. You know, I look at it now. I see all the flaws, all the color issues, all the stuff on it. You know, but it's still, again, like I tell people, you can tell me how bad it is, but you can't. I worked my ass off to make it, and it's still good. The writing is phenomenal. You know, I actually ended up getting other writing jobs for other film productions because of the fact that I did this show. You know, people were watching my show and being like, bro, you can write. Like, bro, this is compelling. Bro, this is dope. Like, I like your characters. I like this. Bro, can you write for this? Can you come join this project? Can you come on this production? And so, you know, it opened the door for me for other stuff. And so, you know, season 2, we've been working on season 2, getting ready to, you know, get that out. You know, season 2 looks 10 times better because I had more money, more equipment. You know, but it's been a joy, man, working with people on films, you know, doing this series. You know, shout out to my homeboy Tay, who was our main actor in season 1. He was the lead actor. He passed earlier last year in April from Corona. He was our main lead actor in season 1. He was the one that kind of stole the show for us. He was the reason why people really was tuning in on the level that they were. Like, he made that show pop. And so we just lost him last year. We were able to luckily film some episodes for season 2 with him in it. You know, but you know, it's just, even that was a journey because he had always wanted to do acting. He had always said he wanted to be an actor. And he had never done any acting before, but he loved acting and theater. And so his first and last project that he ever got to do acting-wise was mine. And it was very humbling to have his family, his friends, thank me for letting him live his dream before he died, tragically passing. But it was crazy because my little vision shot on a little iPhone meant the world to somebody in their entire family. And it's in shooting something on my phone left his legacy. His entire legacy was recorded on my little iPhone. You know what I'm saying? But again, learning what I learned allowed me to do the film or the miniseries, but it also allowed him to live his dream before, you know, his tragic passing. So it's crazy. Just, you know, that's why I always say, man, it's not about money. You know what I'm saying? When you don't have equipment and you don't have this, just use what you have, because you never know what you're going to create. You know, if I would have just said I don't have the big money equipment to shoot a miniseries, then I would have never did it. And then he would have died and never got to live his dream. So just being able to start where I was and have faith that, hey, you know, I don't have everything now, but I'm just going to build upon what I do have, and we're going to get there. And it may look rough in the beginning, but as time goes on, we're going to create a masterpiece. That allowed him to be a part of that masterpiece forever. So, you know, so rest in peace, my homeboy Tay, for believing in my vision first, because the only reason I have the success I have behind that show and everything else I do filmmaking is because he took a chance on my very first vision, which was Die for This. So,
okay, check that out on YouTube, y'all. It's on YouTube, right?
It's on YouTube. Maturity Productions, Die for This, 10 episodes. Yep.
Oh, shoot. All right. No, we're going to check that out. I'm going to spread that out big time. Spread that out big time. So you said, okay, that also led to you writing, you led to you getting script writing jobs.
Yeah. Yep. I've had an opportunity. I'm in production now and in works now, working on scripts for some other people who had visions for some films and some miniseries that people want to do. So I got hired upon those jobs to be the writing for that, do some directing for that. I was going to be a part of a project last summer that got shut down due to Corona, but we were in process of doing something last year for somebody else who brought me on their team to do some work. So just doing what I do opened the doors for me. You know what I'm saying? Again, never said I was the best writer or Tyler Perry writer, but what I am good at, I'm good at, and that's what ultimately had people looking at me. So, it's been super dope being brought in. I'm working on a new show right now. So it's just like, man, between the shows I'm working on, the shows other people got me working on, my writing brain is just like sometimes overloaded with stuff. But it's super dope to know that betting on myself has made other people bet on me.
Okay.
That's crazy. That's like a tagline.
Yeah, that's a tagline.
That's a tagline. Betting on me made other people bet on me. That's crazy.
Oh, man, there's a couple of them this episode. I'm thinking, like, that's the name of the episode. Oh, nope, there's a better one. Nope, there's a better one. I'm going to have to listen to it again. All right, I see. Okay, real quick. Any advice for, like, okay, you got someone sitting there say, hey, I want to be a script writer.
Okay.
What you got for them?
Like
from the ground.
From the ground up, I would say just write. Just write. Like, really, just write. Just write it. A lot of times people think that there has to be some type of perfection to it, some type of, I know that just recently I've been looking at screenwriting formats, because everything that I wrote script-wise is in there. I got all my scripts in my phone. They don't look as professional as, the white sheets that you see on set of a hit series or something like that. But I just wrote. I just sat down. I watched, again, tons of YouTube. I watched other filmmakers talk about how to develop characters, how not to develop a certain character. I watch YouTube videos on plot and stuff like that. And then a lot of times I just watched my favorite shows. Why do I like this show so much? Why do I like 24? 24 is one of my favorite shows of all time. Jack Bauer, Saving the World Again. I love 24. But why do I love it? Because every time there's a issue that happens, and it's based around time format. It's based around 24 hours. So as you get closer to the 24-hour mark, it gets more and more intense. I like that because it heightens the drama. Oh, okay, so I need to know how to heighten drama throughout an episode or heighten drama throughout a series. I just watch my favorite stuff and say, why do I like this? What's good about this? What's great about that? What character do I like the most in this movie? I like that character, the Joker in Dark Knight, because it's something about the reality of him, but the duality of him. I like this character in Pulp Fiction because of and then I draw from that and say, now how do I use all this information to make my characters come to life? And a lot of it is just me writing. What do they look like? How do they talk? I envision that. I try to picture it. A lot of times people have asked me, like, man, let me come on and write for you. Let me write something. Let me do an episode or something for you. And I tell people all the time, it's no offense. I would love to have other writers, but everything is up here already. I already can see my characters. I already hear their voices. I know how they talk. I know how they're going to talk. I know how they should talk. So I can write that because it's in my head, and I just listen to the thoughts in my head and say, oh, yep, that's exactly how they would do that, yep. And that's hard to explain to another writer. They would have to truly understand script writing to be able to just watch the show and then be able to pick up from where I'm at. So without that type of actual talent, which some people have and some people don't, you really have to understand a writer's psychology. So for me, it's just like I understand my characters so well, I can't explain them. So I can just write now, like and then that's the other thing, my actors. I know how to write for my actors. I know what my actors are great at. I know how their personalities are. So I try to make the character become one with my actor. So, my one character, Q, in Die For This, literally is my friend. That is her. That is her to her core. Like, she talked like that in real life. And so people are like, man, that character Q crazy. I'm like, no, that's really just her. That's really her. I just write according to her personality type. You know what I'm saying? I write according to the people that I'm using. you know. So I think that that's what's important for anybody that's starting off screenwriting, man. Just write, study your favorite shows, your favorite characters, you know, just take notes. I'm working on a book right now, and it's a book about bank heist, and I just sat not even 3 days ago and watched 3 movies about bank heist. They were all on Netflix. I just watched 3 movies about bank heist, and I just took notes. Keywords they said, you know, facial scan, recognition, you know, titanium steel plates. I was just taking notes. I'm like, this is going to be great for the book. Okay, what else do people say in bank heist? Oh, okay, yeah, all type of stuff. So I was just writing notes down, because if I'm going to write a book about it, then I need to draw from some sense of inspiration. So I just watched 3 movies about bank heist, took keyword notes about things they said, things that happened. Okay, this is, okay, you know, the problems got worse as they got deeper into the vault. Okay, now I know how to do, I understand things that I can pull from when I write my creative book that has its own story, but I'm going to understand the lore and world of bank heist because I studied it. So when you're writing, just write, study what you love or study what you're trying to do, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, find people, when you find your actors who are going to play your people, you know, study them, you know, study your actors and say, okay, you got a deeper voice, so I shouldn't make you somebody who screams a lot. I should make you more of a quieter tone person because your voice is that way. But if you know, a great actor could just do it. But when you're dealing with, you know, local actors and your friends and your homies, you know, you find some people got really great talent, and then some people, they don't have great talent, but you can write according to their strengths as a human, and then it will reflect through the characters. So, but just write, man. I tell people all the time, just write. Just write. It don't matter if it's a stupid idea or not. Write it out. Write the script. Write the actors. You know what I'm saying? Write what they're going to say. Write your plot devices. Just get it out your head, because you will find some gems and you will find some duds, but you don't know that until you put it all together. Until you get all your thoughts out and create an entire movie and write it out, you don't know what's going to be good. You don't know what's going to be bad. And, you know, I didn't think Die For This was going to be a hit. I'm going to be honest. I didn't know if it was going to be a hit. I really was unsure. I was like, this might not work. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I just did it. I was like, I'm going to take this in the direction I want to take it. I want to tell the story I want to tell. And to this day, I'm still shocked that people love it the way that they do. Not because I think it's a bad show. It's just because it was my little idea. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't think it was original. I didn't think it was anything different. I don't think I really was changing the genre in film. I felt like I was making a basic standard, you know, gangster flick. And I was like, this seems pretty something like I've seen before. But it took a life of its own, and I think that's why people love it. So just put your thoughts out there. You never know who's going to attract to it, man. You never know how good it's going to be.
Dang, okay. Those bars, man. Man, all right. We're gonna wrap it up. We over an hour.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Can we if people want to reach out to you, they want to see your work, they want to listen to your podcast,
okay,
where can they reach you?
All right, so this is the easy part. So definitely the first place you gotta go to YouTube, search Maturity Productions, subscribe to the channel, notify yourself to the channel so you don't miss videos. The second place you should go is on your phone or any streaming device as far as podcasting wise. You know, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Deezer, Pandora, iHeartRadio. Just go ahead and type in, or Brushsprout.com. You can type in Maturity Productions Network. There we have multiple podcasts, the First and Only podcast, the No Capping podcast, the Rap Shit podcast. Coming soon, me and my homeboy Chance Prestige, we go have the Hit Your Finisher podcast, which will be a wrestling podcast. You know, and then of course you can always check my music out on Apple Music, on Spotify, all type of music streaming platforms. You can type in Mature the Servant. That's servant, like a server, servant, Mature the Servant. You can find all my music on major streaming platforms. And of course you can find my gaming channel, on Only True Gamers, OTG Universe, O as in Omar, OTG Universe, Only True Gamer Universe. You can check out my game channel there. I know The video, first one you go see is 4 months old. It's okay. We coming back. But I got a lot of great content on there, man. So check that out. And then, of course, follow me on social media. Instagram, you can follow me on maturity_productions. You can find me on Facebook at Maturity Productions. Or you can email me at maturityservant@gmail.com.
And boom, there it is. Vincent Parker, like to thank you for coming in.
For sure.
And kicking back with us, sharing this game.
Of course, man.
Sharing this game so we can even out the playing field. This is the Entrepreneur Kickback. We out.
Next time on the Entrepreneur Kickback.
Now, there's another website called FAIR. You guys write this down, FAIRE.com. FAIR.com. And I learned about FAIR from a couple of the stores out in Asheville, North Carolina. So these independent stores go to FAIR and they find wholesale products at FAIR.